Hey guys, this is Miharu02, Medioli02, and I'm here to talk to you guys about my process of making a manga. Not just the artistic aspect, but also the planning and character designs and all that kind of cool stuff. So let's get started. So first thing you always got to do with planning is you just need a piece of paper and you need your pencil, because the first thing you're going to want to do is come up with a name for your story. In my case, I thought of my story a long time ago, so we kind of already had a name ever since. So, come up with different ideas. It all depends on where your story's based, where you want it to kind of resemble, things like that. So yeah, so you gotta get some ideas. One way I usually like to plan the story is doing a timeline. So you want to do a timeline. So you want to do your typical timeline. So there's a beginning and then there's an end. So usually you want to try to find a point in the timeline of your story where you want to start it. So let's say you don't want to start with the beginning. You don't want to go through the origins of your story just yet. Maybe you want to save it for later. Maybe you want to start off around here, maybe not too in depth in the story, but you definitely want to, move a little forward, just so maybe you don't want to hit the reader with all this information. And that's one of the mistakes I did, in my opinion, in my story. I think I started off way too early in the beginning, so I definitely suggest doing a timeline as a way of planning. Like any other great story, there's your characters. You always need characters in your story to make it somewhat interesting, or comparing it to other mangas, you definitely need that one character or many characters to make a good story. So one thing I definitely recommend when you're character designing is to first kind of start off with a template for characters. If you've ever gone online and looked for character templates as far as descriptions, that kind of helps you with a name, age, powers, skills, what are they afraid of, siblings, anything really. And I'll probably put a link down below for some good descriptions I found on DeviantArt, different designs, so you guys can use those to kind of help you character designing. And it definitely helps me out, so I kind of build my characters up. So that's another good way of character designing. The next process I like to always use when I'm making my mangas is to definitely talk to my editor, my writer of the story. If you don't have a writer, then it's pretty much all up to you and as far as your opinion. But you definitely want to write down what you think about, because sometimes you'll come up with really good ideas and people forget to write them down, and you kind of lose that great idea. So always kind of, when you're out somewhere, always kind of try to write it down so that you remember these great ideas. One thing me and my editor always like to go over for the story is the main reason why a character is doing something. Usually a character is not just there, they all have a purpose, so try to always find a purpose in the comic for a character. Don't just have them just be there just cause, try to find a reason for them to be in there. Now I'm going to go to storyboarding. So storyboarding, usually what happens with me, I usually like to write it down on paper first, so I'll usually do kind of a script style of writing things down, and then then after I'm writing that down, I would jump into this storyboarding type of style. It doesn't have to be amazing, when you storyboard. It's just a quick little sketch so that you can kind of show what you want to show in those panels, so that the reader can kind of understand. Another thing you want to maybe do is, if you're not sure with how to position a character, you can draw an extra panel and draw a different view so that maybe you can get different ideas for that panel, and then maybe a friend or an editor can tell you what panel looks better out of the two or many that you've chosen. Another thing I definitely like to do when I storyboard is to write the words outside, just because I feel like if I write them inside I won't really be able to see the words, or if you don't want to write the words you don't have to, because you'll probably have your script and you'll be able to write panel 1, balloon 1, character says this. So it's really up to you what you want to do as far as writing it so that you don't know. But for me, I just prefer to have it written down just so I kind of have an idea of how the character would say the line. So yeah, I mean, and then the process after you're done storyboarding, you'd start actually drawing the real page and inking it. I would normally show you guys a finished product of this, but I'm still storyboarding at the moment. But I'm just kind of going over my beginning styles of drawing. So I'll definitely make a part 2 to this type of video so that you guys can see the process that I go through to make my mangas. So yeah, so definitely. So the next best thing you guys should always do is have a folder so that you guys can put all your work in there, so that you can always save all your stuff more organized. Try not to leave your stuff everywhere, because that's not the greatest thing to do. And for those of you wondering, this right here is a mock pic, kind of not a finished part of it, but this is going to be the new logo for the Naho. You know, me and my writer were going over some different things about the story, and we think that Inaho needed a symbol to kind of represent them, a type of crest. So we decided to come up with different ideas, and I'm not going to say why we chose these because they're very important to the story, but this is the new design. I'm not saying this is what it's going to look like. It's going to look pretty close to this, but more professional, because I'm going to do it in Photoshop and stuff like that, so it looks a lot cleaner. But this is just a drawing of it so that my editor could see it and approve or not. So yeah, this is some of that. And another thing we're also doing for Inaho is we're doing rankings for characters. So they have a brand new style jacket, the characters, and I decided to use rankings. My editor didn't want numbers or a symbol, kind of like military, because he felt that was kind of too overused in a way. So we kind of went with from a manga called Beat the Vandal Busters, and how he especially likes how the characters have like a little line to say what level they are, and so he came up with the designs for how to rank soldiers or warriors in our story. And you know, I'm coming up with some rough sketches of what the characters' new jackets would look like with the logos. And for example, here's Sokoto from Naho, you know, and I was, you know, just going through the drawing and kind of drawing his new jacket design with the logos and the ranking right there on the shoulder. So, you know, it's a good way to always kind of also work with costuming, because you always want your characters not to look so plain, to have something cool about them. And we also, another process we went through was did some research, going on Google and looking at different pictures, and you know, choosing different shirt designs, jacket designs, and my editor would choose which one he thinks would be more popular. And in this case, he chose this one, but he really liked the colorway of this one, so we kind of had to mix it up with these two. And in the end, you know, we came up with this kind of jacket for the characters. And I know it's not the greatest drawing right now, but it was just a quick drawing so that my editor could kind of get a vision of what the jackets would look like. And as far as the coloring, I know it's not that great either, but it was just something quick so we can get an idea of what it would look like. And he really liked it. For some reason it kind of reminds me a lot of Cell from Dragon Ball Z. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. It's kind of like a camouflage-y type of look. And, you know, trying to test out new looks for certain characters also. I'm not planning on changing my characters, just planning on improving them in a way. And, for example, this is Chris from my manga, and I really wanted to come up with a new style for him to make him a little more interesting. With the new jacket, just with a little different look, not the long sleeves or short sleeves. I wanted him with no sleeves because that's kind of his style. And I even gave him kind of a new hairstyle. I felt like the big hair was a little too much for him, maybe a little slick hair. So yeah, and I might do a coloring video for this one with Copic so you guys can see the process I use on coloring, so that can help you guys too. But overall, that is what's going on with Inaho, and I think it's gonna be a lot better this time than it was in the beginning. I think it's getting to the point where it's really growing. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I know I haven't been uploading lately, but I am definitely planning on uploading a lot more so that you guys can get more content. But thank you so much for supporting Inaho, and if you guys haven't yet, please give a like to this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely upload more stuff on my manga. And also I will do more how to draw videos, and I'm also trying to look for a new website to upload my manga Inaho when I'm done finishing it up. If any of you have any comments on that, let me know. Alright, man, take care, bye.